Hello, everyone. I'm not sure we are in live. Yeah, it's live. So should be hearing us now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. I think we can maybe wait just a couple of extra minutes in order to have everyone that is registered to this webinar to join us. Simon, in the chat, if you can give us a go when you want us to start, or if the count is there, and we will dive in. Let's wait like one extra minute and then I suggest we start. Okay, I think we can start now. So welcome everyone. Welcome in this webinar. My name is Marc-André PEZIN. I'm the CMO at Vates, and I'm really happy to actually welcome you to today's webinar. We are organizing this webinar with our partner EasyVirt, and over the next 45 minutes or so, we will discuss how organization can reduce infrastructure costs, simplify virtualization management, and make better informed decisions across their stack overall. So before handing things over to the real experts in the room, Jeffrey and François, I'd like to spend just a few minutes in order to set up a little bit the stage and explaining why we believe that topic has become something of importance over the last few years. First and foremost, maybe a quick introduction about Vates, because maybe some of you doesn't know us. And we are a software editor, a French software editor, but you probably can tell already that because of my French accent. We are a French software editor, and we are developing a virtualization platform, a complete virtualization platform based on Xen, and we are developing it from A to Z. Let's say we are developing the XCP-ng hypervisor, which is the base of the stack, and we are developing it up to the orchestration layer, which is Xen Orchestra. We are also working on a fully open source. What we are doing is a fully open source solution that is already used globally. Our first market is actually the United States, despite being a French company, but we are adopted over 1,000 companies are using our solution across the world. So over the past 2 years, our jobs has been mainly to help organizations to actually migrate away from VMware in order to jump on Vates VMS. So we have been in the forefront of many discussions, and we have seen how the conversation with the hundreds of IT teams that we have met around the world have quite changed over the last 2 years. A few years ago, we were discussing mostly about features, performances, or how to choose basically the best virtualization platform for your infrastructures. And today, the narrative changed a little bit. The first question is almost always an economic one, but more broadly, it's about the control and regaining control of and over your virtual infrastructures and overall the world infrastructure itself. Organizations are asking themselves how to reduce costs, how to regain control over long-term technology, and how to ensure that every infrastructure and investment they delivers the measurable value in their infrastructures. And of course, VMware licensing have definitely accelerated these trends, but that's only one part of the story, because one newer story, let's say, at the same time, we have seen like the the cost of hardware have become significantly more expensive, and therefore the cost of hardware refresh cycle within infrastructures. The memory pricing has become really volatile. The budgets of many organizations are under greater scrutiny, and many organizations are now trying to extend the life of their existing infrastructure rather than investing in new hardware. And that brings us, and that's the reason why we wanted to organize this webinar with EasyVirt, because EasyVirt it's also a French company, and EasyVirt is working on 3 different solutions, but those solutions are mainly around the capacity planning, observability, and one important point is that EasyVirt is developing solutions that are working on multiple hypervisor at the same time. And that is really the key point in order to have a complete overview of your infrastructure before buying more servers, before buying more memory, or even before starting a migration project. And with EasyVirt, you will have the ability to ask yourself and to answer the most important question, actually. Are we making the best possible use of the infrastructure that we already own? And in our experience, I must say that the answer is really often no, because across many virtualization environments, we can see that it's very common to find oversized, over-provisioned virtual machine, idle workloads, forgotten resources that are sleeping somewhere, or even capacity that has been allocated like a long time ago for many years and that are barely used by your actual team. And that's where EasyVirt will shine to help you pinpoint these resources. So together, we have an approach that will help you reduce both the cost of your existing infrastructure, but also reducing the risk and the cost itself of your migration project, and that's across multiple infrastructures. During all the webinar, you can ask any question that you have in the dedicated question tab that is on the right side of your screen, in theory, and we will try to cover it at the end of the webinar. And if there is too many questions, we will send you an email after the webinar in order to reply to everyone and to every question that we got in the chat. There will also be a survey at the end of this event, so please take a few minutes to answer that survey, because it's already helping us to shape the next webinar that we will organize. So with that, I will let our experts, François and Geoffrey, to hand over, and I will hand over to them, and I will walk you through the practical side of that journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marc. My name is Jeff Duerr. I represent Vates, and I'd like to thank everyone who is here and registered and is in attendance. I'd also like to thank François for his collaboration. And I'm very excited to spend a few minutes discussing what we're seeing in the virtualization market, why organizations are reevaluating their infrastructure strategies, and how companies are reducing costs and risks while being able to create greater flexibility for the future. Which brings us to the first challenge many organizations are facing today, that IT and infrastructure leaders are being asked to do more with less. Budgets are under increased scrutiny. Teams are expected to support more applications and more business initiatives without increases in staffing per se. Executives, of course, want a measurable ROI from all of their technology investments, while also being able to remain agile while reducing the operational risk. And really, in my view, the question is no longer what virtualization platform should we use. I think the question is more so, how do we build an infrastructure strategy that allows us flexibility, control, and that long-term sustainability? For years, virtualization was viewed as what I would consider a settled technology category, meaning organizations would select a platform, they would standardize around it, and rarely have they had to revisit those decisions. But as many of us know, today that has changed quite dramatically. There's a need to examine costs, evaluate risk, look for flexibility, and perhaps most importantly, IT leaders are looking for control of their infrastructure. And at Vates, we believe organizations deserve infrastructure sovereignty. They deserve the ability to make decisions based on business requirements rather than vendor mandates. And that is the philosophy that drives what we do at Vates. Through XCP-ng and Zen Orchestra, we provide an enterprise-grade virtualization platform built around openness, flexibility, and sustainability. And what's interesting is that while cost often does start the conversation, especially considering that Vates offerings are cost-effective, it's rarely why customers ultimately choose Vates. The conversation quickly becomes bigger than cost, becomes more about transparency and organizations wanting that confidence in their infrastructure strategy to be able to evolve alongside their business. And one of the most common questions that we're hearing, that I hear when speaking to customers on a daily basis, is, in the open source model, how does support work? And that, of course, is a very fair and important question with any open source software, because many people still do assume that open source means unsupported software. Of course, the reality is very different. And in considering that enterprise organizations have never really been paying for software primarily. They've been paying for expertise, they've been paying for engineering, and they're paying for overall confidence. And that's exactly how Vates approaches open source. We allow customers to gain transparency and flexibility through our open source technology, while also providing them enterprise-grade support, engineering expertise, and a long-term partnership. Vates VMS is, of course, 100% open source, which provides full code transparency. Vates VMS, we are secure by design. The Zen hypervisor architecture is widely used. Excusez-moi. And our platform is comprised of XCP-ng, which stands for Zen Cloud Project Next Generation, which is our type 1 hypervisor. That is paired with our web interface appliance, Zen Orchestra, XOA, which has built-in backup, disaster recovery, and replication into the stack. Vates VMS is air-gap ready for organizations that do have offline operations. And we provide 24/7 support with 1-hour response time, while also providing setup and upgrade assistance for our enterprise customers. In terms of our business model, and something that we're very proud of at Vates, is we allow prospective organizations a very thorough evaluation. And we do so in the form of a trial offering, which starts at a 30-day default. And that trial offering is us providing you a verified build of Zen Orchestra with no holdback on feature set. And more importantly, during the trial phase, we allow prospective organizations to open unlimited support tickets and engage directly with our technical experts, whether it's questions about networking, storage, our VMware migration tool, and so forth. And in parallel to that, we also offer a technical demo, which is a 1-hour session conducted by one of our support engineers. And I think what's most important to understand about our technical demos, which are, again, a 1-hour walkthrough of Zen Orchestra, we keep them very open-ended in that we invite and expect high-level technical questions specific to your environment throughout the discussion. And those two combined, again, are something that we're very proud of in terms of our business model, allowing customers to evaluate thoroughly. And in addition to our licensing, we do offer professional services in the form of general consulting hours, in the form of migration packages, and most recently, we now offer live support option. But therefore, with Vates, open source provides you that freedom. Our enterprise support provides the confidence, and together that creates a model that's both technically and commercially sustainable. And once organizations become comfortable with this model, the next question becomes really, how do we evaluate this alternative without introducing unnecessary risk? And this is where we're seeing one of the most interesting trends in the market, which is that many organizations believe they only have two choices. One, stay where they are, or two, execute a very large scale migration. But what we're increasingly seeing is a third option, and organizations are utilizing Vates to optimize their existing environments by evaluating XCP-ng and XOA in parallel. In doing so, they're increasing VM density on their existing infrastructure. They're identifying over-provisioned workloads, uncovering excess capacity, and ultimately extending the life of the infrastructure that they've already purchased. So the result is immediate value, right, in the form of reduced costs, improved utilization, and delayed capital expenditures. But perhaps the biggest benefit's not even the cost savings. Really, it's time. By running a proof of concept without yet moving forward with licensing, it allows organizations time to evaluate properly, to evaluate their processes, to train their teams, and to ultimately reduce uncertainty. And this is, of course, because of the delayed hardware purchases, that reduction in licensing exposure, which will create potential additional resources for organizations that can, genuinely and thoroughly evaluate the future state of the infrastructure. And as mentioned, many organizations are currently running XCP-ng proof of concepts in parallel with their existing environments, primarily VMware. So rather than treating migration as a high-risk event, it's being treated as a structured process of validation. Prospective organizations are able to validate performance, operational workflows, as well as validate backup and disaster recovery procedures, as well as our overall support model. And the goal, of course, is not to replace one risk with another. The goal is to systematically reduce risk while increasing optionality. And of course, none of this is possible without visibility. Visibility has become one of the most important components of modern infrastructure management. Without visibility, optimization can become guesswork, migration can become risky, and governance becomes reactive. So as we're continuing to listen to customers in the market, one message is becoming increasingly clear, and that is that organizations need deeper operational intelligence. They need better utilization analysis, better migration planning, better dependency mapping, and better visibility into their workload behavior. And that's exactly why Vates has partnered with EasyVirt. Together, we're helping organizations answer some critical business questions. First, are we maximizing the value of our infrastructure that we've already invested in? Secondly, do we have the visibility and governance needed to effectively manage these increasingly complex environments? Third, can we safely evaluate and plan migrations without introducing these unnecessary risks? And finally, do we have the operational intelligence required to improve security, compliance, resilience, etc.? And these are some of the questions that EasyVirt helps organizations answer with actual data rather than just assumptions. And so I've spent the last several minutes discussing Vates, the current state of the marketplace, some challenges that organizations are facing, and how we can help them reduce risk while creating greater flexibility for their future. And with that, I would like to hand things over to François.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you, Mark. I'm very pleased to introduce two of our free core solutions, DCScope and DCNetScope. So my name is François Machacek. I work as business developer by EasyVirt, and I'm based in France, as you can hear. These two solutions, DCScope and DCNetScope, seamlessly complement Vates stacks, enabling you to optimize IT efficiency across multi-hypervisor systems, to regain total control of your virtualization infrastructure and master your IT budget. They are very easy to install, less than 1 hour, completely agentless and deployed on premises. Our solutions are not SaaS-based, which eliminate the need to open external network ports. These two solutions are strategically positioned against VMware. They give you the power to monitor VM behavior, optimize performance, eliminate resource waste, and maintain a living, fully historized network flow matrix. DCScope and DCNetScope are available individually or as a powerful integrated suite directly from the Vates ecosystem. Pricing is available on the Vates website too. So a few words about DCScope. DCScope helps you to manage the efficiency of your virtualization infrastructure, identify IT, resource optimization levers, measure savings in euro or dollar and CO2, and master capacity planning, FinOps, and GreenOps. DCNetScope is a powerful tool that ensures your network traffic matrix is always up to date and historized. It is ideal for mastering your micro-segmentation and strengthening your compliance with ISO 27001, NIS2 in Europe, DORA, or the NIST TSF in America. Now, let's dive into the key features. DCScope gives you an easy way to understand your VM's behavior. Look at the screenshot. Here, the VM in green are behaving normally. The yellow ones are overallocated in terms of RAM and CPU resources. And the red one are idle, meaning they are doing little to no work at all. When our client first starts using DCScope, we typically find that around 80% of the VM are yellow and red. Combined with zombie and snapshot discovery, this delivers a fast and highly visual waste audit. The optimization sources are often right in front of you, but invisible without factual metrics. DCScope provides the visual and quantified proof you need to take action. To achieve this, we provide a proven three-step methodology, totally in line with what Jeff presented. First, eliminated unused resources because they impact the business growth, cost money, and increase your attack surface. Secondly, precision right-sizing. Our algorithms harness the full power of the minute-by-minute granularity of the data we collect. And third, VM densification, up to 25% reported by our clients. So once you have eliminated unused resources, and once you have right-sized, oversized VM, then you can densify the VM on the physical servers. You can then decommission some physical servers or keep them to support organizational growth without buying new one. Let me give you an example of a client managing over 1,000 VM, the Brittany Regional Council. In just a few months, he removed about 130 VM and 2 physical servers out of 28. This is about 15% reduction in unnecessary resource consumption. Here is another example, a bank facing a major production crisis. Their virtualization infrastructure was completely running out of steam. In just 3 months, using DCScope, they identified key optimization levers, implemented them, and brought their virtualization platform back into the green. These are concrete examples of immediate return on investment. As you can see from the second screenshot here, DCScope calculates the benefits of right-sizing in both euro or dollar and CO2. Ultimately, you will achieve the best long-term results by embedding this optimization into your recurring production processes. By doing so, you enter a true continuous improvement cycle. Let's continue with capacity planning. Capacity planning is a major pain point for most of our clients. The lack of reliable data cripples their decision-making. Without solid, convincing arguments, securing budgets at the right time to upgrade infrastructure becomes an uphill battle. Not to mention that deliver time, as Mark and Jeff told, for servers have become very long. So DCScope bridges this gap by offering a dual vision of capacity planning based on allocated resources versus actual consumed resources here on the right, And as you can see on this screenshot, saturation dates here are precisely calculated and displayed in the line underline saturation for every resource type, RAM, CPU, and storage. You can also easily run what-if scenarios and see how they impact your infrastructure. The new saturation date appears on the line simulation here. So decide on facts and predictive simulation, not intuition, for a total peace of mind. I spent this week a few hours with a client, an hospital in West France. The management requested the IT team to integrate a new application and to migrate the workload from an old cluster to the main one without buying any new resources. They didn't know what was the impact. Thanks to the capacity planning, analysis, running different what-if scenarios, they are now able to prove that they need to upgrade the storage or the business will suffer. Let's now dive into FinOps and GreenOps. So FinOps and GreenOps have this common goal of optimizing resources. Less usage translates into both lower cost and reduce environmental impact. This scope allows you to calculate the exact cost in euro or dollar and CO2 footprint for every single VM. By aggregating this data, you instantly get the precise cost per application, per environment, per virtualization technology, or per business line. And this on a multi-hypervisor basis. So imagine now you've just run several major optimization projects. Your team is proud of the results, but now comes the real challenge, defending these technical wins in front of your board. This scope allows you to transform the infrastructure team success into quantifiable business outcomes. You effectively eliminate budget roadblocks simply because your board now clearly understands how investing in your infrastructure saves them money. In France, many major hospitals host core applications for other regional hospitals within their healthcare networks. They rely on this scope to manage internal chargebacks based on allocated resources. And one CIO shared this powerful feedback with us. Before, I always had to negotiate and justify my bills to other hospitals. Now, with this scope, it's completely factual. I have the hard evidence. There is no more negotiation. It has saved me an incredible amount of time and a lot of stress. Finally, I wanted to say a few words about governance and compliance. The multi-hypervisor observability allows you to maintain absolute control and visibility across multi-cloud and hybrid environments without security compromises. One tool for different technology, you streamline your governance. When it comes to cybersecurity, there is a pain point shared by 100% of our clients. Maintaining an up-to-date network flow matrix. It's an absolute nightmare. DC Netscope solves this by delivering a continuous, living, and fully historized network flow mapping. This means that when audit day comes, you have instant, bulletproof evidence. Furthermore, DC Netscope now automatically maps and draws network flows between your applications. This brings total peace of mind to your micro-segmentation or VM migration project from VMware to Vates. It completely eliminates the fear of breaking a critical application by accidentally closing the wrong port. To conclude, I'd like to share 4 key takeaways with you. First, switch from one-shot cleanups to continuous and embedded optimization. You will only achieve strong long-term results if the optimization of your IT resources is an ongoing priority. Secondly, follow the golden rule, optimize and right-size before you migrate. Don't design too large target infrastructure. Don't migrate unnecessary VM. The third, shrink your attack surface by purging zombie resources and mapping every flow. And the last one, stay audit ready. Turn your network flow matrix into a strength, not a pain point. So you can download both tools from our website or from Xen Orchestra. The free trial version includes a 15 days license. You can calculate your return on investment using our ROI simulator, and our client achieve a return on investment in less than 1 year. I'm now going to show you the main feature, of these two solutions in a short demo. I will try not to take too much time in order to have some time for the question at the end. So DC scope. So the DC scope interface features different tabs you see here that allow you to analyze your infrastructure from different angles. First, the overview tab, here, this one, provides high-level cross-platform metrics across all your hypervisors, broken down into 4 categories: FinOps, GreenOps, benefits, and infrastructure health. The other tabs focus on the specific virtualization solution from the different vendors. At the top here, you have a filtering system that lets you target specific parts of your infrastructure. Vates XCP-ng cluster, for example, all your production platforms, an application or a business line, and so on. Every single component in DC scope then updates based on this filter, allowing for deep dive analysis. Let's jump back to the overview tab. These KPIs here depend on the filter and on the time period that you will set up here. So for the demo, I will let the current year. It means everything will be calculated from the beginning of the year 2026. Once you select a specific time frame, you can analyze costs, carbon footprint, savings, and more. So if we look at the Cost Explorer, I can see that all my virtualization platform costs since the beginning of the year 39,325 euros. That an annual average cost of a VM is 540 euros, and this is the trend of the cost. I can enter this module and have a view broken down per editor. I can choose, for example, VMware and Vates, and I will have, for example, here the cost of both and the annual average VM cost for VMware and for Vates. And for example, you can here have some arguments to push, to migrate some workload from VMware to Vates and save money. But you have the possibility to break down per infrastructure cluster, and that's the same. Per cluster, you will see the different type of costs. You have the same kind of KPI for Carbon Explorer. For the benefits, this is really interesting, and you get here some really turnkey KPI for your board, for your sustainable IT manager. You see here, for example, that all the action, all the optimization you put in place since the beginning of the year generated a benefit of 12,105 euro and 95.44 kilo CO2 equivalent. You have all the detail, what are the benefits in terms of CPU, memory, storage, and VM per VM. Everything is calculated, even for the RAM, the CPU, and the storage in each VM. And at the opposite, you have the saving potential. What are the other benefits you can reclaim with the price and the carbon footprint, and the same system? You have all the information VM per VM at disposal in order to build your project and your strategy. If we go to the Vates tab, for example, to go deeper in the Vates environment, I see here on this dashboard that I have 109 VM. You recognize the green one, the normal one, the oversized one, and the idle VM. If I want to have some metrics about one VM, I can click on it. It opens the graph and demand component, and I have all the technical metrics in terms of CPU usage, RAM, network, and storage I/O. I can add some other VM, I can add some other host to compare the different type of metrics. If I want to go deeper in the optimization analysis, then I will use the opportunities module. And you recognize here the three-step methodology I talked about. First of all, we will take care about unused resources. So we will have a look at the idle VM and the zombies. Secondly, we will do some right sizing. So here I can see I can reclaim up to 187 CPU and 68 GB RAM. I have the cost in euro or dollar and in CO2. And if I click here on detail view, I will have all the detail VM per VM, how many CPU I can remove on each VM and how many RAM I can remove on each VM too. So this is really, really detailed. Something very important, we won't put into production this optimization. DCScope has no right to do it. So you have the information and you are accountable to put into production the optimization you want to put into production. Capacity planning, I show you the screenshot. You have here both views, resource allocation and resource consumptions with the saturation date. You see here the simulation module below. You can deploy and delete some VM. You can deploy or suppress some physical machine, and the same for the storage. You run the simulation, you get a PDF report, and you will get the new saturation date here on the simulation line. So this is really useful if you want to simulate your disaster recovery, for example, if you want to simulate the arrival of a new application on your virtualization platform, if you want to simulate that some host will be in maintenance mode, if you want to simulate your migration from VMware to Vates and the switch of some host from VMware to Vates, and so on and so on. Everything is possible. And at the end, if you're interested in CO2, you have some very interesting KPIs. For example, here, the CO2 emissions of, so your filter, it means here, in this case, all my virtualization platforms, but the monthly emissions of your virtualization platform, and with the difference between embodied emission and direct emissions. So this is really useful because this is turnkey. You can just send it to your sustainable IT manager, and that's it. And if you build filter for an application, for example, you will be able to follow the CO2 emission for your application. And just to end here, the carbon analysis component show you the detailed carbon footprint reduction associated to the resizing and the deletion of the virtual machine. So this is really, really detailed. I will switch to DCNetScope for a few minutes. DCNetScope, network analysis, you see the overall traffic day after day, the volume exchange, as default to last 24 hours, but you can change it here. The network flow matrix for the last 24 hours with the breakdown and source, destination, port, protocol, everything is detailed. Each time you have a network flow matrix in DCNetScope, you can export in CSV. Each time you have some graphics in DCNetScope, you can click on it and get the dedicated network flow matrix. So here, for example, for the inside traffic of your virtualized infrastructure. The cluster viewer show your different IPs, VM in blue, in gray and in purple, other IPs of your LAN. We can add the internet IPs communicating with your VM. And what is very interesting, if you want to focus on a part of your infrastructure to do an analysis, you can click on a VM, you make a focus, and you will simplify the view. And you can add, for example, another one, and you will build your perimeter to do the analysis. And if you click here on the data table, you will get the network flow matrix associated to the focus you just built. We have an application groups component, which show the different flows between your application. or inside the application too. The network viewer shows network flows between network subnets. And I will go to the outside flows just to end this demo because I see the time is running. This is the component showing all the traffic with the internet. So you get the countries with which you have some communication. You can click on it and get the network flow matrix. You have here the classification, the VM sorted out, the countries, the network providers, and each time you have every detail that you need of your network flow matrix. Okay, I will stop here, and I will give back the microphone for the questions. Simon or Marc?
So I think we have a couple of questions and probably the time to answer one or two. First one is probably for Jeffrey. So Jeffrey, the question is, let me just find it. It's about VMS enterprise support that requires for host, and if you want to have a 24/7 support.
Right, yeah, so the question being regarding VMS enterprise, our 4-host requirement, which in fact, we do have the 4-host requirement. The question being, can that minimum be waived, or is there a workaround for a genuine 3-host pool? The question is absolutely yes. We have many customers that, because they would prefer, if not require, the 1-hour 24/7 response time, and they have a 3-host environment, they are satisfying the 4-host minimum and essentially just leaving a 4th node idle. And to that question, I mentioned the concern would be, of course, wanting that 24/7 support. So to answer that question, if you have 1, 2, or 3 hosts, but you would still like or require the 24/7 support, you would satisfy the 4-host minimum for the enterprise. In addition to that, if and when organizations transition from enterprise licensing to Essential Plus, do you risk losing continuous replication or anything or other features in Zen Orchestra? And the answer is no. The feature set in Zen Orchestra that is provided in the enterprise package is the exact same in the Essential Plus. The only thing that differentiates those packages is the respective SLA attached.
Okay, I think we have another question. We're really short on time. The easy part is maybe to answer about the, is it possible to get a demo for EasyVirt? And the answer is definitely yes. And you can even deploy it directly from Zen Orchestra. And if you're not using yet Zen Orchestra, you can definitely go, François, on the website, on EasyVirt website, and there is an option to ask for a demo there. François, if you want to complete.
No, it's totally true. So you download, you install. It's really easy to install. You get 15 days a free trial, and if you want to get more time, you just contact us. We discuss, and this is there is no issue. And just try it, and you will love it.
Yeah. And finally, the last part of the question was about disaster recovery as a service. The short answer, but it would probably require a little bit more time than we have, is yes, you can definitely install a parallel infrastructure within a cloud. And this infrastructure can run, let's say, on bare metal. You can install a Vates VMS on it and do continuous replication. Continuous replication is a feature that is embedded into Vates VMS. We are also compatible with S3 storage types, so it can also be an option. And finally, we are also compatible with a third-party backup solution, Veeam or Commvault, for instance. So you can definitely find some ways to actually have disaster recovery as a service, as a cloud service provider. And I think we have 40 seconds left, so it's time to say goodbye to everyone. I think thank you for attending this webinar.
Yeah, thank you for attending.
If there is any question left, feel free to reach out by email, and we will make sure to answer everyone. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, François, for your participation. And yeah, that's maybe the first webinar of a long series of webinars we would like to set up together on the road.
It would be a pleasure. Thank you, Marc.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah. See you.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Marc.
Thank you, Simon, for the organization.
Yeah, thank you, François. Bye-bye. And thank you all attendees. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Cheers.